I'm going to talk a little bit, then we'll go over the cosmos some more. I'm going to show you my face without the glasses, and I'll show you my body so you can see how thin I am. Okay, and let me show you my body. I'm going to see if I'm getting this on camera. You see how thin I am? So when you see my face all swollen, you see my neck getting discolored, my face is so discolored. I'm not supposed to be very dark. You can tell just by my skin. I mean, this was part of their accusation that I changed my skin color. But you can see when my arm is exposed to this technology, it gets darker. So I wondered why, even when I'm not like tanning, the inside of my arm is much lighter than the outside. So I'm like, well, why, So they said, oh, I didn't like to be in the sun. I like to be in the sun. But whatever this technology is, it causes my skin to get darker. So you can tell. I mean, it's kind of strange for me to have to keep talking about what they're saying when they don't know what they're saying, and it doesn't make sense. So I said, I'm not going to keep giving proof of things that don't make sense. So you can tell. They said, oh, I'm getting an Adam's apple because they targeted my neck. You can tell right there. You see that swelling? So when my throat is irritated and I'm doing that twitching, my voice goes. So, I mean, like, I wrote down some things I wanted to say. I didn't write it like completely. I just wrote little notes about them spreading lies. And they wanted me to eliminate the lies so that they would know what would be the truth and they can kind of attack me on that. So I wanted to say, the interpretation of the day, of what manipulative people say, it's implicate you. What was it? It's implicate yourself. So they were saying that I said I'm not. No one should go along with this communication system because it's a way of getting people to confess to things that they shouldn't confess to. So at one point they said this was some sort of act of public penance. That's crazy. Like, that's the kind of sick stuff that happened throughout history that people fought to stop. I mean, that's why we have a democratic system in this country. We don't get people to admit to stuff. So they were like, well, we're going to talk to you about this and we accuse you of that. And then, you have to go this and you have to say that. No way. No. So that's part of the reason I'm not going to address their complete fantasy. So the other fantasy they have is that this was some way of getting me to do something, mind control. No, it was trying to brainwash me into thinking that these people are my friends. So they have people talking to me now in a way like, you should do such and such, meaning they're telling me things that I normally would do and making it seem like they're my friends. That's how I think this was supposed to work, get people comfortable with the idea of people talking to them. The reason it didn't work with me is because they used the people's actual voices that I recognize. Like, I recognize the elementary school's voice. They said, oh, she sounds like me. We sound nothing alike. I recognize her voice because I've, known her for 40 years. How could I not know her voice? They used the college ex-boyfriend's voice. I know him. We weren't close together for almost 30 years, but I know his voice. And that's my point. That's how this system failed, I'll say, because I have a distinct accent. So they wanted to use that against me. Like, oh, haven't people told you that you mispronounce things? And I've said to them in reply, I have an accent. And it's not something that I hide. So they said, well, sometimes when I was reading something and it sounded white. Again, here we are. I'm 49 and I have to, worry about sounding white. Well, the whole point is, even now, some people will say, well, I don't sound the same way they expect Black people to sound. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think there are people out there who get me right away. I know there are people out there say, oh, I know. Because if you have an accent like I have an accent, and people think I'm supposed to sound a certain way, look a certain way, dress a certain way, at 49, I don't care. So they said, well, we were always bullying you. And that's my point. Thank you for admitting that. And so when I said in a previous video, I really wasn't bullied, but I had to be tough. Yes, that's my point. At 49 years old, bullying is kind of a new concept for people in my age range. We didn't really call it bullying. We called this person's trying to snap on me. That was a big word we used. Or what was another word? We used a few words where people try to make fun of you. And what we did, we weren't shooting people. They said, oh, when I worked at a previous store, oh, they're going to try to cut me off because I'm telling you the truth. I said, we didn't have guns in my house because we didn't. But when people were trying to, what they call bully you now, we wouldn't hit them or punch them. We would snap back at them. So like snapping means like someone, I don't know what the word is, but someone says, oh, your mama joke, or say, for example, you would do an old mama joke back. And that's what I'm saying about constructive conflict, that somewhere along the way, people take a conflict to another level, like hitting me in the head, targeting me, hitting me with lasers. That's my point. That's, you know, and that's part of what I want to get into on this channel. They said, well, this channel was supposed to be a family channel. This is not a family channel. This is not a family channel. And part of constructive conflict is when you're able to have a conflict with someone and it's constructive.